Our great republic. Joining me now, Republican strategist Cliff Maloney. Also with us, Daily Caller columnist and analysis writer Mary Rook. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. So Mary, clearly that doesn't include me and you because we're normal, we're sane. But the majority of these young women, interesting, they also grew up rich. Now ain't that rich?
I know, it's really hilarious. I actually think this would make Cliff's job a lot easier if these women would, import themselves over to someone else's country, because we wouldn't have to worry about them voting for the Mamdamis of the world or going after these progressive Democrats. We saw this huge, gender divide during the last election. It makes me sad for my counterparts. I write a lot about women's issues, specifically motherhood, because I have 4 children. And I was talking about this today, how many girl bosses I actually have in my email that will send me a little note saying that they love to hear these stories about me talking about my children. And I think that it's because deep down they understand what they're missing and they don't have it. And it makes them really upset and sad about it. Mm-hmm. And so they get to have that little, moment of natural traditionalism, I guess you would say. But it's sad, and it makes me sad for the men in our country, because who are they going to pair up with if these are the crazies that they have?
Right. I think a lot of these women, they bought into the big lie, that they don't need, that women don't need men, and that children are a burden, and put your career first before everything, and then they lose their job or something and they lose their minds. And then of course they want to blame President Trump for everything. I also blame our education system. It's failing our young people, Cliff, hence the stupid choices that they make. They're very ignorant. University of California in San Diego admitting that they have students who can't solve first grade math problems. 25% of their admitted students can't solve these problems. And almost 100% of them can't solve 8th grade math problems. This is pathetic. My daughter is in the 3rd grade. And these are our voters. This is who's shaping our future.
Yeah, and look, I just want to say this and make it very clear. Government schooling is failing, right? We have to admit that. We have to come to terms with that in the United States. And of course it's failing. When you're focused more on privilege points than you are on teaching people multiplication tables, obviously you're going to have these problems. So all of these reports, look, I'm a former middle school math teacher. When I see these reports, none of this surprises me. Because when you spend all of your time trying to force this woke DEI and trying to pit people against each other based on the color of their skin, can't we get back to just teaching kids? Can't we get back to focusing on the fundamentals? That's what schooling's supposed to be. We need major reforms here in the United States.
Yeah, and how about a class on taxes? How about a class on investing in Wall Street and finance? These kids don't know how to write a check. It's really pathetic what is happening in our school system, and it's failing our kids. Speaking of people that need to get re-educated, Zohran Mamdani, who is our next mayor here in New York City, he's also an AOC, who's his work girlfriend. Their BFF, left-wing podcaster Hassan Piker, the guy that said that we deserve 9/11. Yeah, he says now that he loves China. He loves the Chinese Communist Party. Take a listen.
In my conscience, I have already become Chinese. You have 1950s Soviet-era building blocks next to the Gucci store. If there was ever a country that represented the synthesis, the things that I enjoy so much personally, you have met me at a very Chinese time in my life, Chad.
He has millions of followers, and yes, he is close with Mamdani. He is close with AOC. They were hanging out at the victory party for Mamdani. Does Hassan not realize that if he lived in China and criticized the government there the way he does this one, he'd be in a prison camp mining for earth minerals? What do you think about this, Mary?
Obviously, it's ridiculous. And I think the thing that is so sad about the people that listen to him is the fact that he's not willing to give an honest retelling of what the Communist Party in China has actually done to the people of China. We're talking about, some estimates 80 million, some 65 million people died under that, Mao Zedong. And I sit back and I think to myself, we've never actually told the story correctly in the United States. We talk about the education system, how it's failing our children. But when we see this large swath of our youth going towards the Chinese Communist Party and being sympathetic to them, especially people like Hassan pushing that narrative on a daily basis, you wonder to yourself, how long is it going to be really until it's not just New York City that's taken over by this type of ideology, but entire states and entire groups of people, and it's really terrifying, especially whenever you actually are a lover of history and you've looked back and you've seen the destruction that not only communism has done, but socialism has done, and all these other deaths that have come across from these hideous ideologies. Then you have someone going, oh, I'm inherently Chinese. And like you said, it's like, okay, Hassan, then say one bad thing about China while you're there. Because you have Christians in China that can't even profess their faith unless they're going to be taken down into some basement somewhere and forced to go through some sort of retraining. Let's talk about the Muslim Uyghur camps that are held out as slave labor, over there in the rural China. It's disgusting.
It really is. And speaking of disgusting, NBC, excuse me, will now be rebranded as MS Now, Ms. Now. It starts tomorrow. Cliff, I know you are eager and excited to watch this, as am I, because it's great fodder for us to make fun of, and it's great material to have on this program. What do you think about this network, whose clearly its main goal is to upset women? I think that's all they do, and Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked a little while ago about why women are trying to get out of America or want to leave. They've been brainwashed, right? And you have networks like this that want to teach people that they're victims. They don't want to teach people to be empowered, to be a victor. They want to play the blame game, and this is just the Democrat garbage. They can rebrand however they want, but at the end of the day, if your message is still men are horrible, white people are the enemy, and Trump is Hitler, your audience is not going to be a group of people that are patriotic Americans that want to put America first. So I wish them the best of luck. But I will not be tuning in.
Cliff and Mary. I don't think Mary will be watching either. Cliff and Mary. Cliff and Mary, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks, Lydia.